Hi, I'm Brian House, and this is Modern DIY. The table behind me is our dining room table. We've had it for about 5 years. It was purchased at Haverty's. It's oak, it's really super solid, and it has leaves that go up and down on the sides, so it meets our needs perfectly. There's only one thing we don't like about it. We just don't like the color. It's really dark. The wood has that reddish tint to it, and the chairs are black. We would really like to give it a facelift, and that's what we're going to do right here on Modern DIY. So this is one of 6 of our chairs. What we're going to be doing is removing the stained piece of wood from the painted base. We're going to be pretty aggressively removing its finishes with some 80 grit sandpaper. I buy the Bosch 5-inch hook and loops, and they fit right on the skill sander. This is a random orbital sander. These are fantastic. This particular model is the 7492. I'll create links down in the description so you can click on them and purchase them. If you've never used hook and loop systems before, they're fantastic. Essentially, it's soft Velcro on the back of the sanding pad, and the hard portion is on the sander itself. Basically, what you do is you line up the holes and apply it, stick it on, and it's on there. When the pad is done and needs to be removed, it's a very simple removal. Links to both of these are going to be down in the description. I highly suggest them. I buy them in the 50 pack because I really just use a whole lot of them. Great value, great buy. Now, one of the things you're going to want to do when you're refinishing any furniture is remove stickers. They clog up your sanding pads, so it's best to try to get them off before you start sanding. All right, I know I sped that up, but to get all that finish off of all 6 sides of this, it took about 15 minutes. So not too bad. Fun fact about the random orbital sander, my grandfather designed the mechanism that makes it randomly orbit. He worked for a company called National Detroit in Rockford, Illinois. All right, you can see we've been doing some experimentation. These are the exact same seat. One has been pickled with the Minwax water-based whitewash pickling. I like the product. I think it's all right. The hard part with oak, because it's so closed-celled, is you're going to have a really hard time getting this even, okay? The trick to this is brush it on and immediately wipe it off with a damp rag. That way it'll soak in a little bit and you'll be able to smooth it out and make it even. Takes a little finessing, and if you don't get it right the first time, no big deal. Go back, sand it off, come back and try again. It was nice to be able to do it on the underside and kind of experiment with it before I actually did the top side. Again, I still didn't get it perfect. There's a couple of spots that are darker than other spots, but you know what? It's got a nice distressed look. I'm okay with it. This side, we have just a natural look. It was sanded down 80 grit to take the original finish off. I brought it up to 240, cleaned it all off, and added a satin polyurethane. I like the look, but I'm just really not sure how it's going to contrast with the white. So the next step is we're going to take 2 of those black bases and paint them white, put them together, and see how they look. We need to prep this painted surface for primer and paint. And I do that with a product from Jasco called Liquid Sander. You can buy this at Home Depot or Lowe's, or there'll be links down in the description to buy it online. All you got to do is wipe it on, let it dry, and your surface is ready for primer and paint. I've got just a shop rag with some of the liquid sander on it, and I'm just going to wipe it on. Basically going to scrub everything off that I can see. If there's any goopiness or any stains, oil, that kind of thing. It's a pretty straightforward process. You want to thoroughly coat it, and you want to make sure that when your rag gets dirty that you flip it inside out and get a nice clean spot. And keep going. Get into all those cracks and crevices too. You want to make sure that the chair is nice and clean. What I think I like about this, the fact that I no longer have to scuff sand all of my painted surfaces, that this liquid sander does all that for me. And the primer really does stick well to the surface once this is on. It's really good stuff, and it's cheap. Okay, so now that our chair is completely deglossed using our liquid sanding product, we're gonna get ready for primer. Now my primer of choice is the Bullseye 123 for all projects. It's a really versatile water-based primer. It rolls on, brushes on great, and if you thin it just slightly, it'll spray out of an HVLP gun, and it looks really professional. I'm gonna get my paint suit and respirator on, and let's give this thing a coat of primer. Hey, I'd like to take a minute to mention that you can find us on Instagram at mod.diy. That is our preferred social media. Also, if you could hit the subscribe and the like button, that would be great. And that little bell down at the bottom there that will notify you every time we upload a video to YouTube. We really appreciate it. So as you can see, we've got both versions of the same chair. On this side, we have the satin polyurethane, no color, no stains, just straight up polyurethane right on the wood. And on this side we have the Minwax water-based whitewash. Now they're both really beautiful. This side, the colors pop, the wood grain comes out, it's really nice contrast. And on this side, it's a real gentle farmhouse look that's really in style right now. So it was a really hard decision to choose, and we ultimately decided on the whitewash look. It's just so subtle, it really matches, and it's gonna just really fit into our house. So we've got some whitewashing to do. The next step is to take a 400 grit sanding block and go over the edges of your painted surfaces to distress it a bit. I think this is totally up to you and how much you want to do. You can do none at all. I really like the way it gives a contrast to the wood, and the dark paint actually started coming through, which gave it a really nice contrast. Again, this is totally subjective. You can do it however you like. Ultimately, what I ended up doing was spraying 2 coats of Bin 123, distressing it with the 400 grit sanding pad, and then coming back to top coat it with 3 coats of polyacrylic water-based polyurethane in the matte finish. This really gave me the look I was going for. It had the look of chalk paint without all the maintenance. You know, if you use chalk paint, you have to wax it or oil it at least once a year. I didn't really want to have that responsibility, so this was the next best thing. And here you can see the final product. We assembled the table back in our new house, and it really just fits in nicely. It was kind of a big gamble because we were moving into a new house and different color floor, different color walls, but we knew we wanted the beach look, the farmhouse look, the shabby chic look, whatever you want to call it, and I think we achieved that with this. I was really impressed on how the polyacrylic water-based polyurethane sprayed out of the HVLP gun. I had to do very little sanding once that was down. Put 3 coats and gave it a light scuff sand with 1000 grit sandpaper, and you can see it just looks like a factory finish. Everything looks fantastic. I really enjoyed this project, and I wanted to thank you guys for watching. Please like and please subscribe and hit that little bell down at the bottom there so you get a notification anytime we make a new video. Also, you can find us on Instagram at mod.diy. That is our preferred social media. Thanks again for watching, and have a great day.